Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? Bit and maybe do an update or two, if that's okay. I hope. First, I want to talk about a concept that the government uses when they want to implement a change, and usually for the worse for the people. And the plan is 3 steps. It's called event response solution, and that's exactly what they did at 9/11. They created an event, which is they blew up some buildings in New York. It elicited a response from us, i.e., we're scared, we need help from the government, and the solution was the Patriot Act and all the tighter security and all this other stuff they did to us. In fact, the Patriot Act was drawn up in 1986, 15 years before 9/11, not to the day necessarily, but give or take. And plus, why would some terrorists bomb us on 9/11? Why would they choose that particular date? That would mean nothing to them. And how come planes haven't blown up and caused explosions in buildings or elsewhere or otherwise since or before? How come planes just blow up and they just blow themselves up? How come these planes happen to blow up skyscrapers that are built to stand nuclear, attack? Really, So there's something up there. Not up there, but something up there. There's other examples, of course, in history of this tactic being used. I'm sorry, I only think of 9/11 right now, but that's the one that we're really recovering from. We're all recovered 9/11 AX or something, right? Recovering 9/11 victims, and the way we treat each other and the way we're scared of each other and all this other stuff that still lingers today, And then in a couple more personal things, updates, I'd like to say, that wasn't really an update, but that's just information that I know about. Oh, and by the way, there was a project for a New American Century, PNAC, project for a New American Century that was planned. We were supposed to have a different century in the 21st century, which is the 2000s, than we were in any other century. They wanted us to be as we are, basically. Anyway, I made an interesting mental step in my psychology, or whatever you call that, yesterday. I'm not looking for it. I'm not in therapy. I don't do that. But I made a breakthrough, you might say, in my thinking yesterday that I didn't realize I had a problem with, but I realized I made a breakthrough. I'm just telling you about it because I'm transparent with you guys. What do you want me to do? I finally don't care about my grades at Harvey College anymore. That bothered me. I didn't realize it was bothering me, but it was. I was worried, how come I failed the class? Well, I did fail the class because I didn't turn the paper in, but that was not an intellectual failure. It was that I didn't turn the paper in, and I was supposed to, and I got an F, which brought my GPA to 2.91, below the dean's list. And that's how I graduated. I didn't graduate, but that's how I ended my 3 years. And it bothered me. I thought, am I stupid? How come I didn't do that? Harvey College grades very difficultly, though. They grade on an absolute scale. They say that if you get the average score, you get a C. And then to get a B, you have to get one standard deviation, standard deviation, SD. Standard deviation above the mean to get a B, and then to get an A, you need to get 2 standard deviations above the mean. It's very difficult the way they grade at Harvey College, and I finally got over that. I finally realized that I don't care about my grades. I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. I did good in some classes, of course. I high scored 5 classes. I high scored, which means I got the highest score in the class. I high scored PChem. I high scored linear algebra. I high scored E156, which is communication and information theory. And I high scored relativity, which is just a mini course because it was part of a larger physics course. And I high scored one other class I high scored. I should know if I care so much about my grades, LOL. What other class did I high score? Oh, I high scored E101. Yes, E101, which was junior systems engineering. Not junior. sophomore. Junior. Okay. The second semester of the sophomore year, you take Introduction to Systems Engineering, which I totally tanked on that. I got like a C+ or something like that. And I thought that bothered me. So I spent the summer after my sophomore year studying the book of the U101, which was the first systems class of the junior year for engineering majors, systems engineering class. And so I already knew all the whole book before I even started the class. And that's why I knew, that's one of the main reasons I started to develop my own theories before I left. I didn't really finish them, but I had started. And I got the highest score in that class. In U101, I got the highest score in the class. So that's 5 classes, even though one was a little class, that I high scored at Harvard College. But everything else I basically tanked. I either got B's and C's. Once in a while, if I didn't really put my heart into it and it was really not my thing, I would just let it go a lot of the time, and I wouldn't do as well. The real good GPA people weren't like that. They would just be consistent and do good grades all over the board, and then that would help their GPA. And I didn't do that. I went with my gut. I went with what I felt first. In fact, PChem was one of the hardest classes at Harvard College, which I did high score. There was even a bumper sticker that said "honk if you passed PChem." It's one of the hardest classes, and I just said, "Well, if it's hard, I'm going to try to ace it. I'm going to ace this thing. If it's the hardest class, screw it. I'm going to get the highest score," and I did. But like I said, if you look at my grade, my grades have been posted on my Instagram. I'll even post them again if you guys want. I got a lot of B's and C's other than those 5 classes. I got a lot of just didn't care grades, But now I don't care about my grades. I'm free of all that, and it's gonna. I think it'll affect me somehow. I just don't. I think it'll free me up somehow or make me. I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know what's happening. I don't know exactly what. I got good sleep last night. I usually wake up a lot of times I wake up at about 3 o'clock because that's the universal hour that we're all connected, but I didn't today. I slept right through to 5. So I almost got good sleep, or at least it must have been in deep sleep, put it that way. And in my new blues direction, because I'm considering myself at least in part a blues player now. Well, to back that up, I put my money where my mouth is, and I went to, Old Town Records. I love that place. And I got Essential Blues, House of Blues. It's got a bunch of songs on it that are just pure blues. Muddy Waters, this stuff that Jimmie Vaughan. Wait, that's Jimmie Rogers. Duh. Just all just old blues stuff. If I'm gonna incorporate blues into my style, I don't want it to be just just totally on me to pull it out of the air. I want to listen to some of the classics and see if I make sure that I'm on the mark and make sure I've covered all my bases, because I'm not going to think of everything on my own if I don't go to have some reference material to look at. Who else is on here? This different John Lee Hooker. Yeah, John Lee Hooker. Little Walter. Jimmy Reed. Lightning Hopkins. I would know these better if I actually knew blues better than I do. Robert Lockwood Jr. I haven't heard of some of these people. Professor Professor Long Taj Mahal. Oh yeah, Professor Longhair. That's what that says. Anyway, I got some blues material to look at. I want to put blues in my style, and it gives me freedom. It's part of music, dude. I mean, listen to Jimi Hendrix. That's like all he did. Well, not all he did. You can't say all he did about Jimi Hendrix. That's already a mistake. But he did blues. He took blues to another level, and he took blues and made something awesome and great and unique and original and new with it. and I'm just trying to add a new dimension to my music, and blues is a great thing. So I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.